So I just spent my entire weekend binge watching Bridgerton season 2. I have no life, clearly.
No, that's not true. Um, I have tried to watch Bridgerton more times than I can count. I
Interesting.
don't know why. It's not for me. I've literally watched the first 20 minutes of it probably 4 times. And I don't love it and I don't get it. And I just don't know why people are obsessed with it. So tell me more about why you love it, because I don't get it.
Wait, are you not like into period pieces?
What do you think?
Okay, so I'm gonna take that as a no.
Like, are we talking Claire Danes, Leo, Romeo and Juliet? Because obsessed. Are we talking
I mean, but like
Bridgerton? No.
Romeo and Juliet though is like Shakespearean, and I feel like Shakespeare is very, very different than other like classical timepieces. So when I think of timepieces, like for example, Atonement or Pride and Prejudice, or something to do with like more
Yeah.
18th, 19th century England, France, like those kind of timepieces.
Okay, the answer then is a hard no. I'm not that
Got it.
sophisticated.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't even have too much sophistication. I think that it's an entertaining show. I think the first season was really like, and spoilers for those who haven't watched season 2, you may want to like speed up by like a minute.
Although I kind of feel like if you haven't watched it by now, you're not watching it. So you're with me. We're good.
Fair
with spoilers.
point. Very
The
fair
group
point.
is good. We're good.
Season 1 is like very like overly sexual. Like there were some sex scenes that even made me blush, where I was like, excuse me, what's happening here? But
Wait. Hold on. Compare it to last week's episode, because
okay. Last week's episode, completely different situation.
Okay. Got it. All right. I just needed to clarify
but like
that.
I feel like it's pretty like, you know how like back in the days, if something was on HBO or Showtime, you'd be like, oh, it's on like Showtime, it's on HBO. So you knew that it was a different type of explicit content. Like this one pushes it for me, because I feel like with Netflix, and I don't know if it's just because I need to like reorient my brain, but I feel like Netflix is kind of reaching that HBO Showtime status with how explicit season 1 of Bridgerton was.
I don't know, because I didn't watch it. But they did also have sex life, and they had that other like
That's
50
fair.
Shades of Grey wannabe 365.
365. I'm so looking forward to the second movie, by the way.
Oh, are they doing a second?
Oh, because it's based off of like a Polish book, and so apparently it's like a 3-part series.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not even know that. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. All I know is my sister, we were at her house. It was me, Mark, my sister, and her husband. And like the 4 of us never were like, let's go watch a movie. And we're like, let's watch a movie for some strange reason.
Yeah.
My sister's like, oh, I really want to watch this. I heard it's amazing. Everyone's talking about it. And I mean, we all learned last week, Alina's very vanilla. And that it was porn. And I was like, wait, this is so, so I don't know. But no, it's okay, fine. I feel like I feel like, wasn't it like Cinemax was the one that was also, that was another one that was like very, very,
or Stars. Stars, okay. I feel like was like the ultimate. Maybe I don't know. I just remember anything that was like extra on cable.
Yeah,
that was like
premium
the
content.
X-rated shit was on. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, sex sells.
Sex sells. I'm telling you, sex sells. But yeah, I feel like season 2 was like, there was lots of sexual tension, let's say.
Okay.
But we didn't really see anything until like the last 2 episodes, and it's like an 8-episode arc. And also,
I wonder if they got feedback.
I found out. Oh, fuck that. No, people apparently. So originally, Bridgerton is the show was based off of a book series, and like the sort of the raunchy romantic type books. Basically like porn for females.
Oh, like erotica.
Not erotica though. It's like it. I feel like it doesn't really hit erotica, but it's like those, like, I mean, I don't know if you were like this, but when you were a kid and you saw like your mom's bookshelf and she had like those like book covers with like the Fabio type character and the woman being the damsel of distress in their arms kind of thing?
I don't know if my mom read books like that. I'll have to ask her. My mom loves to listen to the podcast, as we learned this morning.
Oh, your poor family.
Really quickly, sorry, not to go on a tangent about this. I want to hear more about Bridgerton. However, I feel like we need to just address this. We need to address a couple of things, but one of the things that we need to address is that I get a text message from my mom this morning after I explicitly asked her, like, I was like, Mom, please don't listen to the not safe for work episodes the next 2 weeks.
Oh Lord.
Like, I was just like, I'm begging you. I don't need you to know some things that happen in the world. I don't need you to know that I say things. And so then I get a text message this morning saying, so I'm at, my uncle's house for St. Patrick's Day, celebrating with the family, and everyone heard your podcast episode, including the kids. And I was like, come again?
I explicitly told you not to do that, but cool.
Great. So here I am picturing my grandma, who is a God-fearing woman, listening to Angelica Swiss recount putting a Pellegrino bottle up her asshole. And I literally almost had a fucking heart attack. So anyway, me and my mom have a call scheduled about that later tonight. But yeah. So anyway, no, I don't know if my mom had smut on her bookshelf, but if she did,
Fair
then
enough.
you know what? Maybe that's why she wasn't as concerned. Although she did tell me, I listened to the first couple of seconds of the episode, and then I heard, she goes, just enough to hear about her putting a bottle up her ass, and then I turned it off. So jury's out on whether or not my mom listens or reads that kind of stuff.
So my mom didn't, but like she had a couple of, so my mom was part of like a book club. And she would get like, certain books sent her. My mom was really big into Agatha Christie. Like she loved mystery books.
Okay.
And I guess they would like send her freebies, and some of the freebies were these like romantic based books. And so she had like 2 or 3 of them on her, like we had like these massive bookshelves where my dad had like all of his stuff, and some of my mom's stuff was on there too. And I just remember being a kid like, ooh, what's this? Like this is like lovey dovey. And I like opened it up and I'm like flipping through, and you get to like the section, you're like, what? He did what to her? What? But anyway, so I guess it's like based off of sort of like the Bridgerton family, and there's every season is to be based off of one of the books. And a lot of people on Booktok, because we all know I'm on the TikTok.
Is there a thing called Booktok?
Oh yeah. So it's basically like communities that are created within TikTok. So Booktok is one of the communities where people will share book recommendations. And so as we all know, I love reading. And so of course I'm on Booktok. And people are actually really upset with what they did in the second season, because it has really, the writers took liberties and didn't stay true to the book, which is fair, because it's kind of like the same like storyline almost with slight variations, kind of like feeding to what women who read those books like, right, like the certain romance tropes, but what they did was they completely changed the actual exactly, but they completely changed it, and so it's very, very different from the way that the book was. And apparently this season is based off of the favorite book out of the entirety of the series. Like a lot of people say that this is the best book, and they fucked it up. And so a lot of people are upset about it. I will say, I think like it's really cool that they bring in like brown girl representation, but also I feel like I wanted more sex. Is that weird? I don't care. I'll say it. I wanted more sex.
I'm like, I don't think it's weird. Again, without having watched it, I don't know like how much of a departure it was from the original season. But I imagine that like if you come to expect a specific trend, if you will, or like a lot of sex or maybe a lot of action, I don't know, whatever it might be, right? Like, and then for the next season to not be what you expect it to be, that's always disappointing.
Yeah.
Like we can't all be Dawson's Creek, in the entire series, where there was never disappointment. But no, so has like, because Shonda, right? It's a Shonda land. production?
Yes, Shonda Land production.
Has she come out and said anything about it? Has she?
No,
Oh.
no, not that I've seen.
Okay.
I think some people are like, some parts of it are good, but also people are like, well, how is this now going to evolve? Like, what are you guys going to be doing with the rest of this series, essentially? Because once again, every book is based on one of the Bridgerton siblings. And so I think that there are 7 books.
So it's like the American, not the American Girl. Yeah, right. The American Girl. Like there was like Joe. I love Joe. I don't know why. I don't know why that was the girl I liked. Josephine. Oh. She's a tomboy. Is it like that kind of thing?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like it's just like each one of the books is going to be based off of them. But I mean, I wouldn't consider the story similar because it's like romance, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. But I mean like that like concept where it's like they all obviously like exist in this world, universe, if you will. Yeah. But like you just like 100%. Dive into it from their experience. So it can almost theoretically be like the same fucking story over and over and over and over again, but you're hearing it from a different person's view.
Exactly. And so the thing is like apparently some of the characters aren't like the same like they are in the books. So everyone is like, okay, so basically you guys are just going to take liberty to say that it's part of the Bridgerton book series, but in actuality you're just taking bits and pieces and then spinning it into what you want. And so some of the more purists who love the book are, you know, clearly upset. And then there are those who are just like, oh, the series is its own thing and it's good, and the book is its own thing. And a lot of people are saying that the book is a lot better than the show. So now I have to go and actually read the book because now I need to know what the differences are.
Got it. So it's so funny because I feel like you maybe wouldn't expect this from me, and I don't know why I think that. Or maybe you would expect this from me because I feel like I have when I have an opinion, I have the strongest fucking opinion about things. I hate when the movie is not the same as the book. Like it infuriates me. So I imagine that I would be part of that camp if I had read it. Like Harry Potter, have not seen the entire movie series
because you were upset that they took liberties too.
Yeah, because I was pissed. Like I get it, it was really long, but like not to be an asshole. Like if you sat through the 774,000th page of the book, like you're cool sitting in a theater for 4 hours to watch what happened in, you know, the 7th book. And I remember I watched the first one. I was so excited. Like I remember we had this whole conversation. I called myself a Potterhead, and then it turns out I'm not, but in my head I am
not a Potterhead.
But
y'all, for context, I had to like teach her about Pottermore, and then we had to like go and have her do the quiz to figure out like what actual house she was a part of. This bitch her entire life thought she was a Slytherin.
I'm wearing green.
This bitch her entire life thought she was a Slytherin. Nope. And in true fashion, we find out that Alina Speranza is indeed a fucking Gryffindor.
I think,
and you're still bitter about it.
I think that was like the angriest I've been in 2022, which is saying something because I'm a pretty angry person. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. Let's go back to the whole purist thing. So I remember I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, they're making it. They found Harry Potter in the real world. This is excellent. And then I watched it and I was like, hold the fuck up. What happened to like, you know, because it wasn't sorry. Again, I am not a Pottermore or Potterhead or whatever it is anymore. But like at the time, I think I've read all the books multiple times, but it's been years since I've read them, right?
Yeah.
They literally cut out like scenes in the like the multiple rooms that he had to go through to get to the end.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, how do you, this is like the only part of the movie that matters. And I was so angry. And then I kind of refused to watch the rest.
That's fair.
So I kind of relate, and I can imagine that I would be pissed if I had read the books and then was really excited about it. I also, what do you think about the fact that like, I feel like every single movie show lately is an adaptation of X? Like, is there no more creativity in this world?
This is actually so funny that you say this because there's this, was it a philosopher? I can't remember. But there's this quote I learned back in like English Lit AP. Apparently, no story has ever like not been told or thought of And there's also this like person back in the 18th century or 19th century, I believe, where they basically formulated that there are 36 story archetypes. And so technically there's nothing unique out of those 36 stories. Like you can create like certain plot twists and turns or whatever, but there hasn't really been an addition to the story type. So yes, there is really no more creativity in the world. I also think too, with like Hollywood and these streaming services, they're really looking for content that has already been popular. And so what is a way in which to, statistically figure out what's going to do well versus not do well? Oh, well,
Fair.
let's look at literature and see what's already been popular. And so they'll just create content out of that. Like I can understand it. But yeah, I do agree with you. I feel like there has been a very big increase in like movie adaptations of literature.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, what's been pissing me off recently about movies is the remakes now that are becoming like a thing.
I know.
Like, fuck off, please.
Leave it. There didn't need to be a remake of, I was going to say The Lion King, but I don't know if that's what I was really trying to think. Sorry, guys. We've been hanging out for like an hour before we started recording. No, like it depends. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse.
Yeah. I mean,
but generally speaking, like, let's go, people. I'm gonna need a little bit more creativity from you all. Maddie and I try so hard to be creative on this damn podcast. I mean, I'm in my fucking closet recording for you. So I'm gonna need everybody to get with the program and start to be a little bit creative and or unique. What do you think about that?
No, I
that request from Hollywood.
Request to Hollywood. It's not just about the money, folks. We also need some creativity. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I feel like that's why people are feeling like burnt out though. Like, I don't know about you, but I know like on Netflix, like I'm like, fuck, I watch the same thing, or like I've seen this, or there's nothing new, or even like all of the stuff on Netflix. I feel like right now there's like Bad Vegan, there's the Tinder Swindler, there's Inventing Anna. It's like you're gonna drop all of the shit about scammers at the same time. Come on,
yeah.
Like I don't want to watch. Like I didn't even watch Bad Vegan because I was like, okay, like you're like the victims are dumb. Like we know this, right? Give me something a little bit different. And I heard that like the victim in this case was like the biggest fucking idiot. He told her he was gonna like make her dog immortal or something, and then like lo and behold, he didn't. Oh, shocker! Like I don't know. I need a little bit more like I need a little bit more like pow moment.
Well, I feel like streaming services are in such a competition right now. Like it's such a hot market that they're just literally greenlighting anything. Like I feel like we just need to write a script, go to Netflix or like Apple streaming site or like Hulu, aka Disney, and just be like, yo, here's an idea. And most likely we will get greenlit because they're just trying to get content through the door. I also think this is why we're also seeing like a massive increase in cancellations of shows too, because they're literally just like testing the water. So like they'll pay for something. If it doesn't perform, it quickly gets like cut. Versus like previously, it's like, we'll give it another season just in case. Like I feel like they weren't as cutthroat about it pre-streaming services.
Fair. You know what has not gotten cut that I'm thrilled about, and I can't wait because you know what? These girls are pumping out the content.
Oh, God.
Selling Sunset. It's back in a month.
Oh, my God. Yes, that's right.
Like you're giving me 3 seasons back to back to back in like a 12-month period of time. Like, thank you. This is what I need in my life.
Yeah. I feel like with the reality TV content, because it's like, it's easier to produce. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how Bachelor and the Bachelor franchise too. It's like we get them kind of like back to back to back, right? Where it's like Bachelor, then Bachelor in Paradise, then Bachelorette, then
Sorry,
and then I think there's like the Winter Games, and then they did like this new spinoff where it was like a singing thing. But I feel like there's But they're speeding up the timeline for these things, which I'm not going to complain about because we all know I love me some fucking reality TV.
Well, I feel like right. They're able to do that. Sorry, they're able to do that for so many reasons, but it's also like the Bachelor, Bachelorette, like same thing. It's like rinse and repeat. Whereas I feel like like Selling Sunset or like Vanderpump Rules, Summer House, things like that. It's just like a continuation of their lives theoretically. And so I feel like it makes sense that they're able to pump it out. I'm just personally really glad that they are, because I'm tired of this like Tinder swindler shit times 17. Like it was like, you know, whoa, people are that dumb to get swindled. And now it's like, okay, we get it. People are dumb. I'm on to the next thing. Come on, guys. The news cycle moves a little bit faster than you all are.
It's just like we talked about in like the last, I think it was part 1 of our Pam and Tommy episode with Angelica Swiss, where we talked about attention spans. Like now streaming services are having to deal with our attention spans too. So they're probably creating like content that relates to particular I wonder if they're testing it out on us too. Like we're like, okay, we'll test out this whole, like we'll put out a whole bunch of content that's like, you know, around swindlers and scam artists around the same period of time, because, you know, we only have one season of this, a season of this, a season of this, and it'll keep people engaged in that specific topic. And they're probably gauging like how long before they get sick of it, and then we can just, you know, have other content similar to it. Like I wonder how much they're doing this type of testing on us in our attention span. Like that would be a cool study to look at. Yeah,
I would love to like have somebody provide me the insights from the user data, because clearly I'm not able to analyze it myself. But I think that that's probably like a fascinating job, right, at any of these companies. But I feel like though, like a good use case for that, right, would be thinking about Serial. Like the original fucking podcast, right? That was the first podcast I ever listened to.
I literally thought you were talking about cereal, as in like Kix Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like that's what I thought you were saying. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Kix is the first cereal that comes to mind when you think of cereal?
Oh, I loved Kix as a kid. I loved
Okay, Kix. We're going to have this conversation later. Like... Ew. Kix is for kids. No, I am really boring though. My favorite cereal was plain Cheerios. With bananas.
So you're shitting on me for Kix, but
with
like
bananas.
You like Cheerios?
No, with bananas.
Ew.
Okay.
Ew. No.
We're gonna have this conversation later. We're gonna post a poll. We're gonna find out what people think. What is their preference? I have a feeling I'm gonna lose here because nobody likes plain Cheerios with bananas, though. That's important. Okay. So but okay. So cereal, right? Cereal, SERIAL, the first, the OG podcast that like put shit on the map.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they like, you know, they're still around. So they obviously still have a following and stuff, and people love true crime. But let me just be very clear. I did not listen post the Adnan Syed case. And like same thing. Cause then I was so obsessed with it that I then followed Undisclosed, which was on Ramya. Was that her name? Rabia. She went on to create her own podcast that like really, really dove a lot deeper into the Adnan Syed case, and I listened to it. And then they started doing other cases, and I literally didn't give a shit anymore. So
I literally did not give a single fuck anymore. Nice.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be an asshole, but like I wasn't as emotionally invested into it. But my point being, like, I feel like that's like a good kind of barometer, right? Because it's very similar. I know it's obviously there's like visuals included. But a lot of podcasters like ourselves are trying to break more into the video thing. But I feel like sometimes too much is too much, and people need to like understand it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay. So by the way, speaking of Vanderpump Rules, did you hear that Tom Schwartz and Katie Maloney are divorcing?
I know, I heard of this. Yeah, I mean, let's get right into our BBQs.
Sorry, I was so excited about it. I jumped the gun there a little
bit. Yes, so I definitely did see this. I am not surprised by any means. Like the rumor mill has been wild, with insights and tidbits, and, you know, photo evidence and Instagram detective work.
Wait, tell me more about this, because I literally didn't hear anything. Sorry, I just want you to like elaborate.
Oh, Katie Maloney apparently hasn't been wearing her ring out in public, and she didn't have it on in some photos. And basically, not Lala, it wasn't Lala who said it, but Kennedy. He basically had said drunkenly one night in Vegas to somebody that then ended up telling the world that they're basically getting a divorce. And he's also, I feel like since he broke up with his girl, he's just like gone down the deep end of his alcoholism.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's
it's
not doing
not
well, I
looking
don't
good
think
for
right
him,
now.
which
Yeah.
is sad.
It is sad. But going back to Katie and Tom, I feel like they've always had like a very toxic relationship, and I don't know why they've held on to each other for so long. Because some of their fights, like I know every couple on that show, Vanderpump Rules, like have had fights before, but theirs have always been the nastiest and like the most demeaning and the psychologically like most
Yeah.
fucked up. And I know that there's been cheating on the show, and I know that there's been like, you know, hurt on the show, but like their fights in particular are the most, I think, psychologically damaging, demeaning, and just overall, like you can see the manipulation, you can see the narcissism, you can see somewhat of the abuse. And nobody really called it out as much. Like they would say, like, oh, clearly this isn't a good fight. And then they would like be like, oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Bubba's, and then like kiss and make up. And I was like, what? So not surprised by this talks of divorce, honestly. Like I could see this coming for a while.
So I feel like I'm like not surprised, but I'm like surprised and weirdly sad for them. I don't know why. Because you know, I don't disagree that they weren't exactly, and I did appreciate that Tom, he like wrote in his post, you know, like
Yeah.
we are not the model couple. If anything, we're the model divorcees. And
Yep.
I was like, okay, so they fucking knew it. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're acknowledging
100%.
it. They knew that it wasn't necessarily like the most healthy relationship, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. Like, I guess this is my moment to be like, the fact that you can overlook somebody cheating on you, and the fact that I felt like they did have each other's backs when they had each other's backs.
Yeah.
I didn't hate them as a couple, I guess. You know,
I don't know.
I
I
wanted
never
better for
really
them
liked them
both.
as a couple.
I
I
don't
always
like
felt
them, but I didn't
like,
hate them.
I mean, I rarely hate things. I just like, I'm like indifferent to it.
You
But
sure
I
about
felt
that?
like they're,
You
I
think
know
you
I
rarely
do
hate
hate
things?
things.
I
You are
was like,
correct. I
okay,
do hate
all right.
things.
Just
But
a
I
little
feel like
moment
in
of
particular,
accountability there. That's what I'm here for.
I guess for me, it's like I don't hate people. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty neutral, but I feel like them
Okay.
together, I never really enjoyed. And I always felt like he was such a boy when they got together, and I feel like he never really grew up. And
Okay.
I also felt like Katie had her own insecurities and her own traumas and her own stuff that she brought into the relationship a lot. And like
Mm-hmm.
it felt very off to me that they both weren't doing like their own individual work to like be better for one another. They just fell into this toxic pattern where they were both triggering the shit out of each other. Would have a big massive fight and then just like kiss and make up. But it's like you could see the cycle was happening over and over and over again.
So,
Um,
mhm.
yeah.
No, sorry. I was going to say, I think it's so interesting that like I don't want to say picked up, because I don't think it's hard to pick up on it, but like, I feel this way about Jax and Brittany. Like, I think if there was a couple that should not be together, it's Jax and Brittany. And when they were on the show, right? Like, I pray that they are doing better. They seem to be doing better. Obviously, they left the show for the sake of whatever, you know, themselves, their family.
Yeah.
I always felt like he was just, and Brittany, I really like. I think she's just like so sweet. She's exactly what you would expect of like a Southern belle, you know? I
Yeah.
always felt like, what is she doing? This guy is so toxic, and like she's beautiful, and so it's interesting that you're saying this, because I don't disagree with you about Tom and Katie necessarily in like, you know, the stuff that they went through, but I always felt like, okay, they can overlook it, that there was something about the way that like I felt like Jax always made Brittany look
Dumb.
yes. I was trying to find another word, because I was like, I live like a mile from these people. So what if I see them on
I
the
mean,
street?
it's fair. Like
But
I
yeah.
mean, I think she said it on the show herself that like he made
Yeah.
her look stupid because
Yeah.
of his actions. But what I liked about Jax and Brittany in particular was that Jax started going to therapy. Jax
Mm-hmm.
knew that he was like exhibiting toxic traits and behaviors. Now, whether or not it was like him just like showcasing to the world and trying to be strategic, right, about his like assholiness and like, I need to show people that I'm trying to better myself, you know, for visibility's sake. I don't know. I can't speak to that. But
Fair.
I also think they just like, they complement each other well. Like the patience that Brittany has with Jax and the way that like Jax also supports Brittany in a lot of ways too. Like, I don't know. Even though I know that they both have their issues, like it still seems to me like Jax is growing up. Like I saw in his relationship with Brittany that he was growing up, you know? Like he was
Okay.
realizing that his actions were fucked up. While previously like he would do it and he'd be like, I don't care.
Fair.
You know? While I feel like with Tom, we haven't really seen Tom grow up.
That's a good point. Okay. I don't hate what you're saying. I never did, but you know what I'm saying. I don't disagree with that.
Good.
A little more.
I'm glad.
No, but yeah, no, I think I don't think anybody's shocked by it. I think it was more like, oh, it happened. Less we're surprised by it, if that makes sense. But
yeah. 100%. Okay. I
Okay.
actually want to bring up the next BBQ because this one was like heartbreaking for me. Doja Cat quits music.
Okay, so for our listeners that don't like haven't heard about this, you know, don't really know what happened, because I feel like it was like in the news one day and then it was like kind of out of the news the next day. I don't know if you felt that way. And I kind of skimmed an article about it, but my understanding is that she was like en route to Brazil, or she was in Brazil. She was supposed to have a show, and due to like inclement weather had to cancel, and people were just like visceral with their hate and just so angry, and they were so mean to her that she was just like, you know what, fuck this, I'm done. Is that right?
Basically, it was like on a tweet thread, and she was just like, fuck this, like I'm done with music, I'm done with this industry, I'm done with you know, I know that the music industry has like a level of toxicity to it for sure, and there's a game that you have to play, so I can understand why she felt the way that she did, especially when you're an artist and all you're trying to do is like create art. And there's so much that you have to navigate that isn't your fault. But, you know, being a public figure, you do get a lot of hate for sure. Yeah, I was very shocked by this though, because like she's really popular. She's like on the Billboard, like most of her songs are on the Billboard top hits. Like she's like trending on Spotify all the time. She's like one of the more popular personalities on TikTok because she's such a little like quirky weirdo that like I absolutely love her. It just makes me want to be her friend more so. And you know, people on TikTok started like commenting on her videos, and they were like, "No, please don't quit music. Like, are you really quitting?" And she was like, "Yeah, I am." And I was like, "No." So she's like confirmed it now multiple times. I'm just like, I'm not happy about it.
Well, TBD, right? I think like there was obviously a lot of emotions. I do hope that fans learn from this experience, right? It's like you can't say mean and hurtful things to someone. We get it. You're upset. You bought tickets. Like it's even like Adele, right? Like people flew to Vegas to see Adele and whatever, and they had their hotel rooms and they didn't get reimbursed, whatever it was. But like, although I do think the Adele thing was different because Adele was just like, I'm not happy. It wasn't like the show literally can't go on because we might all be blown away or whatever. But it's like you can't, like, I get it. These people put themselves out there and they to a degree open themselves to it, but like what the fuck do you expect when you're like bullying somebody, right? Like fine, like my therapist told me, take yourself out of the situation.
Yeah.
Like Deb would be like, okay, how do you avoid that triggering moment for yourself?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I take myself out. Sorry.
100%. I agree. No, that's like also a really healthy like coping mechanism, like setting your boundary and being like, I'm not dealing with this abusive type behavior.
Try. My therapist is great.
Look at you. Hashtag healing. Hashtag trying to be my best. Yes. But I also think that it's important to note that I think this is a problem with celebrity culture too, or like this obsession with celebrity culture is that you put these people on a pedestal and you think that because they're so far out of reach, you assume that they're not going to see these things,
Yeah.
they're not going to, that they're not human. But like these people are exactly like you and me. The only difference is that they sing songs or they act on TV or they act in on the big screens.
There's also a
And they
couple
get paid a
million
lot more than we
difference
do.
between that.
Exactly. But like they are humans. It's just the line of work and
Of
then
course.
like a streak of luck that got them to where they are. But these
Yeah.
people have feelings, they have families, they have emotions, they have, you know, their own traumas, their own triggers. And like people just forget or don't
Yeah.
realize it because they think that they're on such a pedestal that like, oh, it's fine. They won't care. But it's like, no, they do.
Well,
Um
uh-huh.
It's like also to counteract that argument too. It's like they are getting paid a lot of money and they are getting a lot of fame. So, you know, this is the other side of it. But also I feel like people have just taken meanness and bullying to another level since the, you know, rise of the internet.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was just going to say, you and I are not, we're not anybody by any means. But the other day when
Fair.
we were like, one of our videos was, it was starting to go viral and then it stopped. But we hit a fair number of views on TikTok that, you know, we were like, wait, what's happening? Right.
Yeah.
When people started to like, I don't want to say come at us because I don't think anyone was like super mean or like nobody like bullied me. Like if somebody was like, you're ugly, bitch, I think I would have cried. But like when people started to like give us a little bit of like negative, I don't even know if the word is feedback, but when people were like,
It
thought
was
that
like
they
their own
understood the
opinion because they
context.
didn't have the context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think was part of the problem. And we were, you know, but the fact that we were like, wait, we need to like clarify this because we don't want people to think that like we are, you know, approving of Kanye harassing Kim and or Pete and or anyone else, right? But it's just like, how quick were we to like defend ourselves or be like, wait, no, you need the context because, you know, 12, 14 people were like, wait, like, you know what I mean? Like, so imagine that, you know, on a scale of millions or tens of millions or whatever it is. And now imagine that like where people are literally like, there are people who literally tell people like, go kill yourself or like you're fat or you're ugly or
to me.
Like, I don't know if we're ready
Ami,
for this, Maddie, because seeing how we reacted.
I mean, I was actually pretty chill about it, I would say. Like,
I
I
was
was
too.
like, oh, okay. Like, there's some people here who, like, clearly have. And for context, like, people assumed we were talking about Pete Davidson and Kanye. And the clip was really me freaking out about the fact that Pete Davidson is younger than me. Because I am, you know, I am 30 now officially. And I would just, like, couldn't believe it. I'm now at the age in my life where all of these celebrities and all of these, like, people who are coming out in the media are younger than me and I mentally cannot handle that. And so that was the portion of the clip. And people assumed, based on the context of that clip, without the context of the entire episode, they then assumed that we were, you know, against Pete and for Kanye, but like we never said anything. You know, it's like people in a sense just projecting and speaking based on their experiences, which is totally fine. And so I was like, oh, you know, water off my back. Like, but like,
oh no,
when
I
you
was
text
too.
me like, are people being mean? And I was like, no, just, you know, stating their opinion.
Well, because I didn't have TikTok, and so I couldn't see the comments. And so Mark was like, Mark literally like was like, someone's getting hate on TikTok, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, so I didn't really like know. And then he was like in meetings all day, and so I was like refusing to download TikTok. I was like, I want to know what he means. So I was like, are people being mean? Like, what's happening? Are we canceled? Are we cancelable? Like, you know, I was doing what I do. Got to talk about this in fucking therapy. But no. I was like laughing about it because I was like, people are so fucking dumb, and like, just how like up in arms we all get, right? Like so quickly, and it's just like you literally didn't like, you didn't even hear the whole thought. So it's like, why are you crazy? Sorry.
But then it's like now it gives you the perspective of like how these celebrities like things get taken out of context, right?
Exactly.
Yes. And so it's really funny because Ami, shout out to Ami, my little brother.
Hey,
he literally
Ami.
said, he's like, he literally said, and he told me, he's like, I cannot wait for you guys to get like really viral and really popular. He's like, I can't wait to see like the type of hate you guys get. And I was like, why would you wish that upon me? He was
Oh
like,
my
no, he's like,
God.
I'm pretty sure it's just going to be comical. Like that's what it is. I was like, great. So now I got to like prepare myself mentally. I feel like, yeah, like it's, there is a level of meanness that I feel like once you do get to a certain level of popularity that you're going to have to deal with and, you know, find coping mechanisms basically is
I
where
think the
I'm
answer
going
is
with
just
that.
don't read it, right? That's what so many people say.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
just don't read it. Don't even engage.
Yeah.
But like, if someone's like, you bitches are ugly anyway, my feelings are gonna be hurt. I need to be very clear about that. So Doja Cat, we hope you come back. We hope that
Yes,
you rethink
please.
it. And maybe have like different guardrails, you know, maybe someone else manages your social
100%.
media, whatever it
100%.
is. I hope people
100%.
just like develop empathy for people.
Yeah,
Because the
I
wild thing
agree.
is that I imagine that most people that like bullied her out of the industry are her fans.
Oh yeah, isn't that the crazy part too?
That's
It's
wild.
like yeah, I hope Doja Cat maybe just takes a sabbatical for a little bit, you know, gets like motivated or
Yeah.
re-energized, creates a new album and then comes back. Another thing too, and we all know you love a good conspiracy theory.
Love.
This could just be like a PR stunt because maybe she's coming out
No.
with a new album. What if? It's like the part of me that secretly hopes.
It's Kris Jenner, her manager. Because if so,
Is Kris Jenner her manager?
I'd believe it if so. I mean, that's an we'll be cautiously optimistic about that.
Fine.
But I don't know. I feel like to say you're quitting and like given the context there, like it feels legit. So I don't know.
How many like celebrities have done that though? Where they're like, I'm done.
What do you mean? Adele said she retired and then she came back.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot
By
of
the way, you know I
celebrities do
love
it.
Adele, but she came back with the same fucking song she left with. So come on. Again, I need creativity, people. If you expect it of me, I expect it of you.
Fair enough. Okay, so next topic.
Okay, yeah, we gotta move on.
Okay, so our next topic is so tonight, since we are recording on a Sunday, even though this will be airing on a Monday, tonight.
What do you mean? This isn't real time? I'm joking. Sorry.
This isn't real time. What?
Bad joke.
The Oscars are tonight. We don't know who the winners are yet, clearly. As we all know, I've loved the Oscars since I was a little kid. I typically watch it every year. And so there is some drama this year ahead of the Oscars. And so we have two articles here. And the first one is Sean Penn calls for Oscars boycott if Ukraine's Zelensky isn't given a chance to speak.
Okay. Without getting too political about things, because I do think it's like kind of fucked up that Ukraine, I refresh my Instagram feed and I feel like I'm not even seeing anything about it anymore. And that's like so scary, right? Like that's a really horrific, scary concept that like, oh, the news cycle has already moved on. Like we're done with that.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, like while, you know, Russia was like beginning their invasion, you know, I think it was Paris Fashion Week that was happening. I was I know, sorry, I have a point, I swear. I know that a lot of like designers, you know, they like changed things up, or they did a lot of like blue and yellow and they kind of, you know, honored the Ukraine war. I felt like it was a little bit insensitive. I was just like, wait, you guys are literally putting on fashion shows while people are being bombed to death. And so I kind of like feel a little bit like that about this, where it's like, cool, like we're over here, you know, chilling in America, bitching about like recording in my tiny closet, or, you know, more like gas prices and shit.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and hosting the Oscars and like beautiful, sunny LA, or shithole sunny LA. And it's still going on, right? So I struggle with the whole concept of it in general a little bit, right? I don't know what they think it's going to do. Like this, this guy, you know, like Zelensky, he's been appealing to the world leaders, which is what he should have been doing. He's been, or not should have been doing, but like, you know, what he needs to do. Because what the fuck am I going to do? I'm like, we're the ones who are watching the Oscars. Like, what are we going to do? You think me writing to my fucking senator is going to do anything? You think Gavin Newsom is going to go over there and fight? I just don't know what it's going to do. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm also no. You don't need to apologize because like this was my thought process too. Of also the Oscars aren't as popular as they used to be anymore. Like I actually looked at the numbers because I was like, wait, I understand what Sean Penn is trying to do by ensuring
100%.
that this is still made visible and that people are aware, but dude, only 3% of Americans actually watch the Oscars now. Like last year, viewership numbers went down by 56%. Nobody gives a fuck anymore.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched an award show in a long time.
Exactly. It's like,
but
theoretically, I feel like out of all of the things, theoretically, I'm glad that you have this level of self-awareness. But it's just so interesting to me that, you know, he's making such a big deal out of it. And once again, I understand the reason why, but in actuality, it's just not the appropriate forum because of the fact that, Oscars aren't pulling in numbers anymore that would make sense. And so for me, I think it's just like a whole bunch of, there's a part of me that feels like Sean Penn is just trying to be relevant. That's like number one. He's also on the ground right now, like I guess like shooting a documentary about this whole thing, which totally fine. I understand. But at the same time, like the numbers, it doesn't make sense that this would be the end all be all and that, you know, you should have everyone boycott the Oscars when it's only 3% of Americans who are realistically watching the Oscars.
I guess what I'm trying to say, like Sean Penn, no offense, but like if you think that the Oscars is going to be the saving grace for Ukraine in this war, like they're fucked. Yeah. I'm just going to say, right? Like if also, like I thought it was kind of fucking weird. Sorry, but like for Netflix to like bring Zelensky used to be an actor or comedian.
And they have his like shows and like the stuff that he worked on on your like recommended list and shit.
Again, I was like, A for effort. Very nice of you to be thinking about the Ukraine conflict, but like
not the appropriate way of doing executing upon this.
If anything, the way I thought about it was like, cool, you're just reminding everybody this guy was a fucking comedian 3 years ago and now he's literally the commander in chief for a country in the middle of war. Like, I don't know. I just like, I feel like the A for effort, it's like not malintent, but like missed the fucking point by a lot. And that's
agreed. Okay, I'm glad that we're on the same page about that.
Very much so. Very much so.
Okay.
What else is going on at the Oscars? Because I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch it. Usually, like growing up, I used to watch it with my mom, and we would make like a whole debacle about it, where we would watch like the pre-Oscar show, where you would see everybody go down the red carpet, and you would get to see what they're wearing, and me and my mom would talk shit, like talk massive shit. Like, you know, my mom's like this cute. Part. Like cute little, like, you know, North African mom. But like
the best. Your mom is the best.
My mom can talk shit.
No, I love it.
And so, you know, it was like a whole thing in my household, and like we would spend like the whole evening. And so it used to be like a really big part of my experience growing up, like awards show season. And so now I guess I just don't care as much, and I probably won't be watching it. But I feel like my mom is probably going to text me, be like, "Are you watching it right now?" And so I'll probably tune in here and there.
Okay, so without making us like want to kill ourselves, I have a couple of thoughts about this, because as you were talking, I was like, "Wait, me too." Like, not, I mean, you know, I used to watch it with my mom, my sister, whatever, but like it was a whole thing, right? We got like, you know, you watched it for the VMAs, for the Oscars, for the Grammys. You wanted to watch the performances. You wanted to like see who won. You wanted to see what they were wearing, the whole thing.
Yeah.
How much of it do you think is because like all of that shit, you don't have to tune in live anymore? Like, I don't have to sit in front of my television from 3 p.m. until midnight just to see what people wore.
Yeah,
I can check Instagram. Also, what I meant when I was saying like how much do you think is because like we're just old, Maddie, and like I don't even know who half these people that are performing are anymore.
I know.
I'm like, it's not Brittany, Madonna, and Christina. No interest. Don't want it. Actually, wait. Sorry. I feel like we should look into what the numbers are for the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
Because that halftime show like targeted our like millennials, our generation.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So anyway.
100%. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like the Oscars used to be like a very, I don't know, like classic black tie event that people would be like, it's just like a glamour thing, right? And you know, people would do like Oscars, what is it, premieres at their house, and everyone would get dressed up and shit. And now it's just like no longer a thing. I think partially, you know, COVID probably affected all of this, but to your point, it's like our attention spans no longer allow for us to sit for long periods of time to watch this stuff. Exactly. And on top of it, like social media, like literally we're having these news outlets post these photos of people on the red carpet, and in real time, they're also telling us who's winning what. So what is the point of us sitting there and watching all this shit? It makes no sense.
Like, this is my third award season living in LA. I've not been invited to, and granted, half of it was in a pandemic, but like I've not been invited to a single viewing party. What does that say? Like, I'm in LA, like, you know, I know people in the industry, and like they're not even doing it. So,
LOL. Speaking of the Oscars and immediate shit, I also just got like a tweet notification that like they're live tweeting on the fucking at the Oscars, live tweeting, and I was like, oh my god, here we go.
Wait, I'm dead. I just got the same exact notification. That's so funny. Look at us twinsies. Okay, so what else is happening at the Oscars?
Oh, okay. So this is a good one. So you know how they did, since we were speaking of remakes earlier, they did a remake of West Side Story.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Spielberg directed it. And I think it was, what's her name? Rachel Zegler?
I have no idea how to say her name, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm really terrible with pronunciations. So apologies in advance to her. So she's the lead in West Side Story, and she revealed that she didn't get invited to the Oscars.
Yes.
And like, this was a pretty big thing on Twitter. Like, all of Twitter like blew the fuck up when they found out. And she was being very graceful about it. Like, she was like, yeah, I'm just going to like wear PJs and watch it and root for my team. And also for context, I believe West Side Story is like nominated for like 7 Oscars. And she didn't get invited.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like it was, I think it's nominated for like Best Picture.
Yeah.
Which is like,
that's
like one of the best. So I saw this about a week ago, I think is when she kind of came out with it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't West Side Story, it also has Ansel Elgort in it, right? The guy from The Fault in Our Stars or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was also accused of like harassment.
Yeah.
So
also there's a conspiracy theory. You know how I told you about like the TikTok lawyer who I follow is like in the entertainment business? Yeah. Apparently he was like dating someone shortly after these accusations came out. And apparently that was all an agreement from a PR perspective so that like it would lessen the blow because he's like with someone. LOL.
No, doesn't he?
Anyways, I digress.
He's had that like ballerina girlfriend for a long time.
Yeah, and they're like not really in love with one another.
Really?
Supposedly.
Okay. Well,
that's like one of the conspiracy theories out there.
Well, fun fact, he went to my high school.
Oh, what?
Mm-hmm. I think he's like a couple, I feel like we were there at the same time. Hold on, I gotta Google
that's
this.
Interesting.
Now.
But anyway, the point you were trying to make about him?
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to say, like, I wonder if that is part of the reason. Like, because if they invite her, they have to invite him. Do they want him there? Can they invite, you know what I mean? Put it this way. They're not fucking winning. Because if they were winning, they would have to be there, right?
Well, I don't think she's I don't think she's nominated for actor. Like if she had been nominated and she was invited, that'd be weird. She isn't nominated at all. But I do think it's weird when you have a picture that's nominated 7 times in different categories, and yet you don't have the lead actors present. Like that I feel like is off. And I don't know if it's happened before at the Oscars, but I feel like we would have known about it. Personally, I think it's strange. I think the optics are weird. People were saying like, oh, just watch, like at the Oscars, she'll actually be there. Like they may have invited her because of the optics of this. Somebody else was making note that it's because like, I guess like there's a certain number of tickets that they give out. And if you aren't nominated, then it's like, I guess up to the others to figure out who needs to be invited kind of thing.
Do they have seat fillers? Which I know is like not the same, but
yeah. So I know at the Grammys, yes, they have seat fillers. This was actually a really interesting experience for me for the first time. Like it's literally just a crowd and they stay out in like the lobby area. And as people walk out to go pee or whatever, they like rush in and will take their seat, which I thought was interesting. And I'd never seen that before until I went to the Grammys. It's literally just like they just like literally have like a crowd of people just like sitting outside waiting for people to walk out. It's pretty funny. But yeah, so I agree with you. They do have seat fillers. So yeah, I
guess it's not the same as having like an extra seat.
Yeah, but it's just very, very strange that also nobody from those 7 folks who are nominated, like there wasn't like a strategic decision made by the production company, because wouldn't it be really good visibility? And especially like it would be really good visibility to have had her there because she's also like the new shining star. Like I know she recently got another role for another big movie. What was it that she's now going to be in? It was like a pretty big announcement too. Do you know?
No, I don't.
I think it's Snow White.
I guess
I think she's going to play. Yeah.
Oh, you know, the reboots.
Yeah, they're casting her
reboot
exactly.
Princess. Sorry.
Yeah, which is like big. It's like she's like Disney's new pick. You know what I mean? So she's like up and coming. You would think that the studio would want her like present, but I don't know. I thought that was just weird.
No, for sure. It's definitely weird. Because like there are some like randoms. Like they invite like the special effects guys. No offense, Pierre, right? But like they invite them to the Oscars.
Rude as shit. You know that most of these movies would not look the way that they do without them.
Oh, but I agree with you. 100%. 100%. Yeah. I'm not saying that like they shouldn't be there. My point being is that like you would think the point of this is the optics and the visibility and like the excitement of people watching it and blah 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 and sponsorships and celebrity and all that
culture.
Shit. Exactly.
Once again, celebrity culture. Yeah.
So my point being is that like yes, like we know that there are literally like hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are behind the scenes in every single movie, show, commercial, whatever that we watch. Mm-hmm. But like if push comes to shove, you're probably going to pick the person that like viewers are going to be like, Maria or Rachel or whatever it is, or Sean Penn. Like you know what I mean? Unfortunately, you're not going to be like, oh yes, that special effects guy that I love watching. He's so charismatic that he's not on screen. Like,
I hate you so much.
Sorry, like, I really didn't mean that about Pierre. I didn't mean that about Pierre specifically. It just happened that way. But
dream is Pierre will be a VFX supervisor one day, and his team will be up for an award, and he will get it, and he will be on that stage, be like, I want to thank my wife for standing by me, being my rock. Like that's the shit that I want. You know what I mean? Manifesting.
And
then I want the camera to slowly pan over to my beautiful fucking face in that moment. Like that's what I want.
You're like, oh, I love that. Well,
it's like, yes, that's right. I did stand by you through all those late nights.
It's like, yes, I let you take all the Wi-Fi while we were trying to work in Vegas, but Pierre had all the Wi-Fi for the fucking building in the background. No, I'm joking. But no, seriously, my point is, like, I do think it's weird. I wonder if it was just like, I don't think it was an error, right? Like, you don't fuck that up. And if you did, here's why I don't think it's an error, because they didn't come out and say like, oh no, your invitation got lost in the mail. They would have come out and made a very big public thing about it. Right?
I wonder if she's going to now get like blacklisted to some degree because of the fact that she made note that she wasn't invited to the Oscars.
I mean, TBD, we'll see, right? I'm inclined to think that she is not going, because if she was going,
yeah, 100%.
If the Oscars, or the Academy was going to be like, oh, we're going to invite you, they're going to make it known that they're inviting this girl. That's number one. Number two, I bet you they would like, the stipulation would be there's an about face that's going to happen. And it's not just a surprise because it's like a poor optics thing. It's not, there is no reason to not do that. So I don't think she's going. I'm curious to see if like the other leads from the other best motion picture nominees are there. I think that's going to be pretty telling. And I mean, whoever made that decision, their head's going to roll at the end of the day, regardless of whether or not it was intentional or not. But regardless of whether or not like someone's in trouble because this is now a thing.
Yeah. So, no, I agree.
Sucks to be you, sir or ma'am.
It's just like interesting, like the logistics that need to go in it from like a public relations standpoint. Like that's always intriguing to me. But yeah, I think on that note, I'm actually probably going to go now and, text my mom and live text her about what's going on the Oscars.
Yes.
And we'll report back next week